Hi, and welcome to Openly Aging with Allison. I'm Allison O'Shea, and I'm the founder of Openly Aging. I spent 20 years as an executive in senior living, and I saw the same pattern over and over. People would save their money, they would guard it, and they would not spend it on themselves. And then, unfortunately, as they age, a crisis would occur, and their choices and options became very, very limited. So, today I want to talk about changing the way we view money and spending money as we age. Money is a tool. We should use it to promote our independence and control and dignity as we age. We shouldn't hoard it just because maybe someday we may need it for higher level of care. So one of the biggest mistakes I see people over 70 make is just that. They do not spend money on themselves or on resources or services that will keep them independent. I've seen people skip very basic expenses, wellness, maybe resources in the home to help you, transportation, just because they are so worried that they're not going to have enough in the long run. But what happens is when you don't invest in keeping yourself independent and you have a crisis, the cost of going to assisted living or a higher level of care or having a lot of hours of home care in your home will always cost more. So, what if we thought, what can I do today to invest in services so I never have to go to assisted living or I never need 24-hour care at home? Instead of holding the money, anticipating this higher level of care. So I know this is a mind shift and it's really hard because you've worked really hard for your money, and there is a big fear as we get older that we're going to run out of money. So here are three questions I want you to ask yourself when you are contemplating bringing in a new resource or paying for a service or something, on how to know if it's worth spending money on. So question one, does this keep me safe? Question two, does this keep me healthy? Question three, does this keep me connected? And if you can answer yes to any of those questions, then most likely that service is actually something you should spend money on. And I would even say that service then is not an expense. It's actually an investment in keeping yourself independent and healthy as you age. And here's some examples. One of the biggest reasons people can't stay in their home as they age is they have a really hard time keeping up with the home. Cleanliness, maintenance. So, what if you start bringing somebody in to help with weekly, bi weekly cleanings? And this allows you the time to dive into your passions that you have, and you're not so stressed about keeping up with the home. But it also allows for those little things that start to creep in to be taken care of by somebody else helping you. This can also be with maintenance. Maybe you have somebody that comes once a month and just handles the little maintenance in your home. You write a list and they help you. Because the last thing we want is for somebody to walk into our home, and the reason we can't stay there is because it's not clean and it's falling apart around us. That is not dignity. Let's talk about meals. As we get older, sometimes cooking meals just seems like a lot, or we're really tired, or we're just not into it. Maybe you didn't ever really like to cook. So, what if we started getting our groceries delivered or subscribe to a meal service so you always knew you had a meal ready to go? This will not only keep you healthy because we have to keep up our nutrition as we age, but on those days that you're really tired, you know that you have something to make or something to heat up, and that will help you stay independent. Transportation. If you're starting to notice that you're uncomfortable driving at night, or if you have a new place to go to, it makes you nervous. What's the harm in getting to know a driver and paying that driver to take you to the places that you're not feeling super confident going to? The cost of a driver is a lot less than the monthly cost of assisted living. And not being able to get out of your house and enjoy social connection is one of the reasons people end up in assisted living. And so investing in getting to know somebody who can help take you around is a very smart investment. And the last one is wellness. If you are even second guessing whether you should pay for a gym membership, personal trainer, physical therapy, a yoga class, whatever, you really need to think how important wellness is as we age, and it is worth the investment. Mobility and lack of mobility, I should say, is one of the biggest reasons people end up in higher level of care. So protecting your mobility through wellness is one of the best investments you can make. So before you say, oh, no, that is too expensive, think, actually, is it too expensive, or am I buying years of independence in my life? All right, number 3 is we're going to talk about the equation factor. And this is money plus the right services plus wellness equals years of control in your life. So it's just a combination of taking your money, taking the services that could help you or you could benefit from, adding a wellness piece to it, and then that is how you maintain control as you age. But you have to be smart about it. You need to make sure that the services you're paying for are actually doing what you think that they should be doing. So when you combine those 3 pieces together, you are extending your independence by years. And I'm going to say, probably keeping you out of assisted living altogether. So why do I talk about aging this way? It's really important to me for people to view aging differently. Even when I was in senior living, I would say for many years, I thought crisis was normal, and I thought we just handled problems as they came. But what I really saw by the end of my 20 years in senior living was so many aging individuals who were unhappy, who had lost all their choices, which meant their dignity was affected, and they were in a situation that was the last thing they wanted, but they had done nothing to be proactive to avoid it. And so that's why I'm so passionate about talking about aging this way and having people realize that there are things we can do today to avoid higher level of care. We just have to change the way we think about aging. For generations, aging just happened. You just went along your life and you just waited until a crisis and then you solved it. And I just think that doesn't have to be. I actually am a huge believer after all the years and the thousands of people I saw age. I would say there was many of them that if they had been a little more proactive, they could have avoided living in one of my assisted livings or memory cares. And so that's why I'm so passionate. So when I was in senior living, I realized that every crisis I saw fell into one of 4 categories. And these are what I call your pillars. And so I wrote a book called Openly Aging, the 4 pillars to keep control of your aging journey. And these pillars are support system, home, supportive services, and social connection. And if any of these pillars are weak, you are at a higher risk for needing a higher level of care. So we really need to help you protect these pillars. And today, what we're talking about when it comes to money and using our money to promote our independence falls under the supportive service pillar. So if you're interested in getting a copy of Openly Aging, the 4 pillars to keep control of your aging journey, you can find it on Amazon. I will definitely post a link. I hope you continue to follow this page, and I really want you to think about your aging goals, your aging dreams, because you can do and age very independently and in control. It just takes some intention, and it takes some thoughtful personal awareness to know how best to do it. And above all, when you're looking at your 4 pillars, your support system, your home, supportive services, and how are you going to pay for them, and social connection, identifying which of your pillars are really strong and which ones are a little weak and could use a little reinforcement. And sometimes that means we have to think outside the box, and we have to change our mindset into being able to age independent and in control. So I hope you hit subscribe, and thank you for watching Openly Aging with Allison, and let's change our money mindset around aging.